When I was first elected, Lambda, I'm not sure you're aware, Lambda is the business organization for gay, lesbian, transgenders. No elected official in Clark County or the city of Las Vegas had ever addressed them. They had never gone to their meetings. You know, everybody pretended they didn't exist. I was the first elected official not only to go and address them, but to use the words gay, lesbian, transgender. I was the first elected official to go to Gay Pride Day. And a lot of that was the newspaper. If you went against, they were very homophobic. So many elected officials were afraid to cross them because they'd get a bad editorial, and either I was too stupid or too obstinate. I just thought that was outrageous. I remember when a group came in, they were out of Oregon, and they were trying to reinstill sodomy laws in Nevada. It was a real hate organization. I held a press conference on the steps of City Hall, said, there's no room for you in this state. And what it did is it gave other elected officials maybe the spine to come out and be a chorus. Because if one person wasn't afraid to take on what people thought was too controversial of an issue, I think I brought a different perspective to the city. I remember my first city council meeting, the homeless marched on City Hall. It was probably 180 homeless showed up in the rotunda. And I remember my colleagues were saying, don't go out there, you know, we'll get security. And I said, no, you know, they're people, they deserve an audience. And so I went out. And what they wanted to talk about was the lack of services, that they didn't know where to go, that they had no resource. And, you know, that resulted in our putting together MASH. MASH was the Crisis Intervention Center. And actually, although it doesn't exist today, I think it was really ahead of its time. We took, you know, if you're homeless, you don't have a car. We didn't have a bus system. You don't know how to get through the bureaucracy. So we put a building that housed federal, state, county, all the different entities that provide services. So a person needing help could go in, have one intake, and then be sent over to the appropriate person to address their problems. We then built the MASH Center. I learned that philanthropic organizations also can be very competitive with each other. If one thinks that another is stealing their donations, rather than being good collaborators, realizing that there's room for all of them, they become pretty defiant competitors. I think when they dismantled both MASH and the Crisis Intervention Center, that it was a real loss for the city. What happens is people don't want to fund it. You know, it's $3 or $4 million a year, but if you go downtown, we still have very much the same homeless problems that we had 2 decades ago. And we were on the path to fixing that, or at least being able to fix the pieces of it that we could.